Hello, beloved. Talk about the ego again today. The ego is only interested in our basic survival. So it doesn't care about our happiness. It just cares about keeping us alive. And the ego is like a cave person, a cave woman, caveman. It operates and thinks like a cave woman or caveman. And so I want to read you a couple of excerpts from this book written by Andrew Capp called The Last Law of Attraction Book You'll Ever Need to Read. This has been a pillar for me on my daily practice. Not only is the book full of all sorts of practice, I don't know how many practices, which you don't have to do all of them. So I do practice every day, and they are, some of them are from the book. In any case, this is one of the pillars of my practice of mindset and attracting what I'm attracting what is needed in my experience. So I just want to read you these couple of things because it's just so powerful, and he worded it perfectly. I'll talk a little bit about my direct experience as it applies. But let's go. We may not know exactly why or how this all works, the law of attraction, but we don't need to know in order to enjoy the benefits. This is something I've said in other videos. We don't need to know the how. We just need to know that the practice works. And I've impressed this, but I will continue to impress upon this. It does not matter what you are manifesting into your experience. It just matters it is your divine right to have it. It is your divine right to have everything that you desire. The key to all of this is that your ego is stronger than your conscious mind, but not as powerful as your subconscious. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end, about what he says about that. Essentially, the ego is louder, but when we access our subconscious mind and work with our subconscious by practicing the emotions that attract what we want into our experience, then we're overpowering the cave woman or caveman ego. The ego is hardwired the ego is hardwired, and it is stubborn as hell. And it knows exactly what it's doing, and it can outlast your conscious willpower no matter how determined you think you are. So subconscious is different than our conscious willpower. Why might you, if this is true for you, why is it that you're unable to get to the gym consistently and train consistently? Why is willpower not working for you? Because the ego is stronger than the willpower. What you may not have been working with is the powerful subconscious overpowering the ego. Okay. The ego is always going to be more powerful than any conscious impulse you have, and all it knows is that right now, in this moment, you are alive. The way things... So the ego only understands and knows one thing. Right now, you are alive. No matter your conditions. So whatever your money situation is, whatever your career situation is, whatever your health situation is, happiness situation, even if they're not enjoyable, your ego only understands that you're still alive, and so its mission is still being accomplished. There's no way for your ego to know that you would stay alive if any of these conditions ever changed. That's the problem. I'll say our, because this is, I am absolutely in here with you. Our ego is desperately fearful of change because any change, even when it's obviously a positive change to our conscious mind, it's a threat to the status quo that could potentially result in us no longer being alive. So by the ego's perception, any change could potentially result in us no longer being alive, and the ego's primary objective, mission, only mission, one focus is to keep us alive no matter what. Okay? This is how the ego views it. More money isn't necessarily better for us. Not that the ego thinks this deeply, but for all it knows, becoming rich and famous could result in a cycle stalker going after you and threatening your life. Sure, being wealthy may be fun, but our ego is not interested in my happiness. It's not even interested in my comfort. All it cares about is my survival. And all it knows is that whatever I've been doing is working enough for survival, including my habit of struggling to improve, right? So we're dealing with health issues. I have financial obstacles. You have some health obstacles. The ego doesn't understand that these are not that the current circumstances are not satisfying us. The ego only understands that, well, what you've been doing, whatever that is, however you've been thinking, however you've been being, it's enough. It's kept you alive. We're okay. And changing anything could result in no more alive. So, ego is not going to risk allowing any change in our state of being that might lower the odds of our basic safety. This was very useful back when we all lived in caves and had to hunt all of our meals. We'd see a tiger, and it was our ego that would override any impulse that we might have had to calmly walk over and slap it across the face. It was our ego that made sure we knew when to run to hide and when to fight. Would you like to know what our ego is thinking right now? It's pretty much something like this. Me alive. Me like being alive. Me want to keep it this way. Me fear change. Change may kill me. Me no like that. And me stop change from happening any way me can. Even though it thinks of things on this very simple level, it's also extremely shrewd. When it needs to be, it instinctively knows all of our conscious mind's weaknesses, and it is well practiced in exploiting them to the point where we rarely even notice it's happening. This is why we seek to employ our subconscious and to employ practices that serve our subconscious, which is far more powerful than our ego. Our ego is useful to a point, and our ego, however, though, is very much an obstacle in many ways. Okay. So for some who have been practicing the law of attraction and or practicing principles, but you're not feeling results, why is that? Well, perhaps, the practices seem too complicated, or, perhaps you lost your patience, or perhaps doing the practices felt like a chore. Perhaps they seemed unreliable. Perhaps you struggled to be focused. Perhaps you doubted that they were even working. Perhaps you lost patience. Oh, I said that about patience, right? Yes. Perhaps you got bored. Perhaps you made some progress, but not enough progress, and so then you gave up and felt that, well, okay, it's not, this is stupid. So all of these different things are the ego's attempt to keep you alive. In other words, the ego only notices, sorry, little interruption. The ego only notices that change is being proffered forward. And as we said before, me no like change. Me think change could Me make me not alive, me no like that. So it's like this. So um our ego doesn't understand that the changes that we're trying to make are safe. It doesn't understand that some of these changes might even be better for your health, better for survival, better in every way. No matter how much you want those things, the ego does not understand this. And willpower will never be enough to push away the ego. And I shouldn't say never, because there are instances where we have employed, all of us can find examples in our lives where we employed willpower to achieve a result. But it was so hard. Remember that in many instances it was so hard. It was so hard to do it. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We can remain serene and fulfilled by choosing to focus on things that make us feel happy. And that is where we're accessing our subconscious mind. Okay. The last thing I wanted to give about the quote from the ego. For the ego, our survival is just too important. It's like getting in the ring with a 600-pound grizzly bear. We're not going to overpower it with all of this. We're not going to overpower this grizzly bear. But as I just made a mention of, our subconscious mind is more powerful than our ego. Our ego is the 600-pound grizzly bear, but our subconscious mind is the infinite universe, the infinite power that is more than all things. And that is where we get into our place of peace, joyfulness, all of those beautiful images, all of those beautiful feelings. And this is our pathway. It is our escape route from being trapped. And it is our also pathway to creating everything that we are seeking to create in our experience. I think that's what I'll leave it with today. I encourage you, as always, as I do myself, my practice every day, think about things that make you feel happy. Good feeling thoughts. Continuously direct yourself to good feeling thoughts. It doesn't matter what it is that you think about that makes you feel good. The status of you feeling good and joyful is the energetic resonance that puts you in the place of alignment, where you then attract more things that make you feel joyful, happy, fulfilled. Thinking about the thing that you desire for the sake of, with the idea in mind of, I am okay. So thinking about something has two sides. Desire, as I said in another video I talked about this. Desire has two expressions. Desire has the expression of, I desire this and I'm so joyful feeling the desire for this, and I'm so joyful experiencing being that person who is that already. So as an example, you may be dealing with some physical limitation. So being the person who continuously feels, you're being the person feeling, being that individual who is for whom full health and effortless health is the reality, is the experience, is the positive expression of desire. And then the flip side is the negative expression of desire is I want this, which continuously reaffirms that you don't have it. Our goal is to be in the emotional state of, I am being that person who already has this, who is already experiencing this result. I am in this state of enjoyment and pleasure and fulfillment, that I am experiencing this. And I'm not thinking about it in terms of I want it, it's not here. I'm thinking about it with this joy of the experience of already having it. And so those are the two sides of desire, and one doesn't produce the results we're seeking, one does. And so think about, I don't know, a muffin you ate, or a funny joke you heard, or funny things you saw, or hugging someone, or some beautiful moment, or getting lucky with a scratch off lottery game, or getting lucky with some other lottery game, or anything, any experience or collection of experiences that you can continuously, that you can continuously focus on and be in the state of being the person experiencing that, is the energy that puts you in the resonance of attracting all of the everything that you are attracting. And so as I have shared with you, my focus is on attracting financial complete massive wealth, fantastic wealth. I know that people watching this are dealing with certain health limitations. Think your good feeling thoughts about you being that unlimited health, completely fulfilled, completely unlimited body. You are in that unlimited body and experiencing that unlimited body, and is your happy place, and it is the energy of generating that into your experience, of attracting that into experience. There are so many stories about healing, humans healing ourselves. There are millions upon millions. I shared with you the other day about Morris E. Goodman and how he healed himself. He is one of millions, I promise you. So be blessed.